Right. Hi, Paresh. So, we're going to focus in this lot on the week ahead in the markets and the week that just went and what caught our eyes. Also, what the clients have asked about. And there's a few questions which have come up again and again from clients. So let me kick off first and tell you what I'm looking at for the week ahead. Obviously, Alphabet, 22nd of July earnings. I'm not worried because interest rates are not rising. IBM on the 22nd is no longer important as it used to be. GE Vernova also on the 22nd. It's had a massive run up back end of last year, but less of it's not important for the market at the moment. ServiceNow had a lot of disappointments about AI killing this whole industry. So the issue here will be, have they bottomed out? And are we going to get a doubling of price in 100% return in a year? Then you've also got Intel, Donald Trump giving them contracts on the 23rd. Amex and Verizon aren't that important. So that's the week ahead. The week that's gone by, what caught my eyes, the oil price is not impacting the markets. Basically, we don't care. Okay. And that's really good news. And interest rates, from everything that I've heard from the Fed, are not likely to rise. So I'm going to let you give me your week in the markets and, what's caught your eye, but also the stuff that you've been hearing from clients as well and their questions as well. So over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Alpesh. So spoken to a couple of clients this week, well, more than a couple, of course, but the theme generally is, we're at all-time highs, and the news seems positive overall, and what people it's misplaced a little bit. News matters individually. The global market news, like the oil you mentioned, they will move all of the market, and they are buying opportunities if it goes in the direction you don't like it to. So you've got to be prepared. It's what, as we always say, it's all about your temperament, your psychology in these.
Well, life's a lot easier if you've already got the companies that you'd like to buy more of if the market falls. Exactly. A hell of a lot easier. You can make your life hard or easy.
Correct. So particularly, when you've got your portfolio, you should have a column there which says when are the due dates for earnings, because they are important simply because if there is a surprise on the upside or the downside, you need to understand what you should be doing. So part of learning should be how your behavior. What is your behavior when those incidents happen? Particularly
20% of the time is going to be nothing. Do nothing. If it goes up, you're already fully invested, nothing to do. If it drops, unless you're rebalancing,
exactly right,
or you're just trading, which we don't recommend on the investment side. If you're trading, then you might buy the dip.
Well, this is precisely right. So when you're rebalancing is the key issue. So most people, and retail, this is typical, they don't necessarily understand when you've got cash, you don't just go and buy. There's going to be a reason. So hold back, see when those results are. Understand you might want to dip in a little bit more just before, because if they're really good, it's going to really pop, for instance. But you don't necessarily have to do all of that all at once. So that patience, understand we're in it for the long haul, and it all comes good.
No, absolutely right on that one. I had a call with, I had a meeting with the business editor of the Sunday Times. And we were talking about just the broader markets, what's going on with pensions. If part of me going back to what the clients were asking about and the sort of new prime minister coming in, are they going to change and uphold pensions and just the poor performance? And I explained to him it's institutional. There's an institutional problem. Yes. And the sad thing is, I think most people just don't pick up on it, or it's just too big a thing to try and resolve. So we're still getting a lot of that from inquirers. You've got two types of inquirers: existing clients who he wants to remain anonymous. So LF, let's call him LF. You know who we're talking about. And he wrote a brilliant email. So I want to turn to that in a second, where he said, all the people who are friends and family he speaks to who aren't on the program will say, well, why aren't you looking at it? You paid this much money. Why are you not looking at it? And he explained to them, because my time's valuable. Everything's all right. And I think that's often missed by people, that it's perverse because you're doing less. Everything else, it's run around, run. Here we've got a process. You've spoken to quite a few people this week. Tell me, give me the highlights.
Well, the highlights have generally been all good, and even when I speak to new people, they don't understand that when you're not in the institutional framework, you have so much more flexibility to make your portfolio work for you, so that diversification. that diversification isn't just about sectors and stuff. It's about your risk as well. Do you know, have some put aside for those FOMO ideas, but understand what that means. So all of this education they don't get when they just put it all in one thing, and then it's a spray gun approach. You mentioned LS, for instance, LF, and the other point he raised actually was it's extraordinary that I've only had to pay once and I've got lifetime mentorship. So what people don't understand is we can't teach you everything all at once, but things will happen over the next 5 to 10 years that have happened historically, and you know then how to behave when those things happen. And this is why it's for life. It's impossible to show you everything all at once, but as the incidents or the things happen in the markets, we're there to give you the support.
While you were speaking, I've just written a note to Susan, my PR person, about Tesla, who've got their results. And you know, one of the reasons to have lifetime access, you look at SpaceX, none of us could have foreseen that's going to happen. None of us can foresee whether or not it's going to buy Tesla or not. But there's one thing we can say is, well, I don't want to own Tesla because it's volatile. Yes, it will probably go up, but I don't want to buy it. And it's giving people that insight and simplicity. That's part of what our job is. Now, you had somebody else who on the program who had said, in terms of, I think it's 2.5 years. I don't know if I sent you this email, but it was from Paul. And he'd said after 2.5 years, you did see it because he CC'd you, and it was you, I think he was referring to. It's the depth of response, the detail of response. He was surprised at it. He sort of didn't expect it, because there's people outside the program who don't realize it. And I think we've not made enough of it. And we're going to try and, you know, we're changing that, because we've got people who are now working on like case studies more and sort of banging the drum.
That's right.
More. But
we could give you too much information, admittedly, but better more than less. You don't have to,
Well, what's interesting is when it comes to people's own investments and why things are moving the way they are, the complaint they've had with other people is they don't get to hear from the IFAs and the wealth managers. I think there we can give them, we can never give them too much, because it's their own stuff we're talking. It's a bit like getting a health report on your own body. You can't ever, or on your mum. You can't ever have too much information. However, when it comes to the markets, the reason we give all that data, but then narrow it down and say, here's a cake we made earlier, here's a model portfolio, is because for some people, sliding scale, some want all that data, probably 10%. And I've got a call with one of them now, and I've got to say to him, listen, mate, you're overanalyzing. The stock market is not physics. And he's trying to sort of work it out to the nth degree, to the extent that he's looked at the market dips in 2000 to 2003. And I've said, well, actually, we know what they were. You just have to factor in deeper volatility drops. You don't need to go back then to see what happened. You could factor in a 90% drop in the market and see what would happen to your investment. So 50% drop, see what you don't have to find a time, because all times in history are between 0 to 100% drops. It's pretty simple. So sort of trying to get them to see more simply, and then having somebody to call back on. As I said, you've had more calls than I've had this week. Tell me more, what's going on.
This week is only Monday, right?
Well, I can say in the last 7 days. No, fair enough.
Exactly.
Fair enough. It feels like already feels like a bloody long week. I think that all those World Cup matches didn't help.
Exactly.
It felt like a bloody long week.
They certainly didn't. Late nights, goodness. Okay, and we're not getting any younger, so.
I don't know about you. You didn't get the memo. I get younger. It came with the memo on how to predict the stock market and always be right on everything.
I didn't get that memo.
There you go.
There you go. But look, it's it is. We learn every time we speak to new clients as well, and potential clients, because we've had emails from people who say, look, I'm really interested in this, but I don't want to be sold to. So we just lay the facts, and it is, I don't know how that in of itself is kind of a sales pitch, and it's hard to get away from it a little bit, but these are the facts. If you just follow the process, understand, we are at all-time highs. So if you're worried, then just dip in. The point is just to get in, because 5 years from now, it probably won't be an all-time high.
Well, however, We are very much about the data and the statistics, and this has come up
Exactly.
with clients as well. They like the data approach because we asked them, why did you sign up? And there were two of the forms I was just looking at today had both said process-driven, data-driven. So you say it probably won't be at an all-time high in 5 years. However, we want to always test those propositions. Exactly. And if we test a rolling 5-year period, yes, statistically, it won't necessarily on the day be at a 5-year high. However, on a rolling 5-year period, you would be shocked how frequently it is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Okay. There'll obviously be exceptions. Otherwise, it'd be very simple. The stock market, everybody rich. If every 5 years was a rolling 5-year high, then guess what? Rolling 5 years are in a rolling 1 years. They just go 5 years ahead. So the fact of the matter is the probabilities are that it's more likely to be higher than lower. Yeah. We certainly know that.
Yeah.
What we're really after is the earnings figures. Actually, there's something I want to ask you. So on the earnings figures, it's about how much you earn, okay, how much you make.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the S&P 500 equal weighted, and I pointed out to the clients today, I don't know if you saw on Telegram, the private Telegram channel that the clients have. I said to them, guys, don't forget, if you want to hedge your bets and you've got FOMO that you might on any day, week, month be missing the S&P 500 returns, then unless you want to sort of be almost guaranteed, can't guarantee it, be almost guaranteed beating the S&P over the long term, you just buy the NASDAQ 100. Okay, but I said you can just buy the S&P. You know, we're not an IFA, we're not a fund manager, we don't manage money. We're not scared of saying there's nothing wrong with owning a bit of S&P, 10% of your portfolio in the S&P 500 if you wish. That way, you know, oh, I can't underperform that part. I've done that, and I've told people why I did it. I said, well, that way, at least I know that bit's always going to be at least meeting it. And they get shocked because they, oh, I said, of course, my goal is to try and do better. You know, with all the knowledge, the information, all the books you and I have written together and everything else. But, you know, sometimes the most obvious things they don't see in front of their face. We've got to wrap it up because already we've been on for 10 minutes and I've got a call with Eamon coming up.
Good.
Anything else on the client side? Anything else on the markets which is catching your attention?
No, I think we'll call it a wrap there. Yeah, and
I'll tell you what I like about that, by the way. Most people think, oh, surely they're going to ramble on for a bit longer. No, because I saw some of the Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs ones, and they're at 10 minutes, straight to the point, get on with it. And once you've done it, no nonsense, which is another thing clients say. So if you're not already a client, alpeshpatel.com is where you want to go and give us a chat. We've got Paresh and me at the front here, and there's about, how many of us is there now? 10 behind us who are helping us with all the data and everything else. I will speak to you soon, my friend.
Thank you very much. All the best. See you soon.
See you, mate.